everybody's doing well. Let me see if I can find the chat. Let me see if I can find the chat. Hey, how are you? Hi, Rose. How are you? I hope your day's going good. Tell me what's going on with you guys. What's going on your Friday night? Did you have any luck getting that book, Rose? I hope you guys did. So, I hope you guys are doing really good. I want to hear what's going on in your world. I can tell you guys what the crazy antics I have. Hi, Stacy. Oh, you're working. Where are you? Oh. So tell me what's going on with you guys on a Friday night. Well, it's Friday afternoon here, and I'm hoping they couldn't confirm what was under the dust jacket. You know what? I'll go to my local library and see if I can find find that book. You know what I can tell you about that book is that when I looked through the pages on the book that they had on sale on Amazon, that it was graphic design at home. Woohoo! My daughter's a graphic designer too, Stacy. And she loves it. She really loves it. Back to the book. I don't have it in front of me, or I'd show everybody. So last week I showed everybody in the live stream a book that I found. I'll show you guys my new finds today. My new thrift store finds that I'm going to work on. Or I'm not going to work on the thrift store finds yet, but so the book has a big owl on the cover, and if I get up to take a break in a few minutes, I think it's in the other room. I'll bring it in. So what I can tell you about the book, Rose, is that when I went through the pages, like when they show you the flip through, that the pages matched. Like whatever the graphics were on page 2, 3, 4 matched the book that I had. So I'm almost 100% sure it's the same book. So yeah, I think you should get it. It's a really cool book. If I can find it at the library, though, I will confirm if they have the dust jacket. I bought it at a thrift store, so I can't confirm anything. So these were my this week's thrift store finds. This is what we're going to be working on. We're going to be making a junk journal out of, a book jacket. I don't remember who asked, but I got a couple of emails asking if we would make a junk journal out of using book jackets. So this is just a super simple one, and then I have a book jacket, and we'll make along if anybody has a book jacket that they want to. So everybody say hi. Tell me who's here. Rose and Stacy, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm Shelly, and I live in the beautiful Hawaiian Islands in the tropics. So let me show you my thrift store finds, and then I'll finish up this one, and then we can start one together. I have a cool, the one we're going to make together, I have a cool little Japanese book cover that, Japanese book jacket that I'm going to use to make another one of those little junk journals. So let me show you guys my new thrift store finds. So this is this week's thrift store finds, and I'm really loving the cover of them. For those of you that don't know me, I love, hi Lynn, Northern Alabama watching, awesome. I hope you're going to make along. I hope you guys grab your stuff and make along. That's the most fun to me, is to make along. So these are my thrift store finds this week. So for those of you that are new to my space and new to my channel, I am obsessed with vintage book covers. Okay, so I've made all kinds of ridiculousness out of vintage books that have really cool covers. I don't mean the dust jacket, I mean the cover. So this is this week's. Now wait till you see the inside of this one. It's so cute. It's called The Spice of Life. Has some really cool little owls, but wait, look at the paper inside. It's got little chartreuse birds. I am like so I haven't even like thought about what I'm going to do with them. I just am in love with them as they are. So let me hold it up so you guys can see it. Isn't that, aren't they cool? Little chartreuse birds. Hi, Regina. You know what you can do? Do you have an envelope, Regina? If you have an envelope, like, or even a large piece of junk mail, you can use that for your cover. Anyway, so this is just like, I'm in love with these like little chartreuse birds, and and the pages, like, look at the pages, okay? So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this book, but I like love all of it. So part of me thought maybe I should scan the graphics of it, and then when I take the book apart, use the graphics in the book, like in my junk journal. Like the pages are just great, like the little birds and the, I don't know, I just love it. Birds are my favorite. I love birds too, although you couldn't even see it because I've got it up so high. Sorry, guys. So I'm totally loving it. I'm totally loving this book, and just the graphics of it are so cool. And I think it's like super fun if you can find yourself. I paid like nothing for the books. Like I paid a quarter each, so I don't have a. Oh, you've never made a junk journal? Oh my gosh! Oh, you're gonna be so. Junk journals are my favorite, Regina. It's like an addiction. So I'm loving this book, and it's got such beautiful little birds and cool graphics, and I don't know. I'm like loving it. And they're on every little page, like a toucan. They're like tiny, and like these really fun little tiny. Let me see if I can fix the lighting in here. I'm sorry, guys. It's only 3 o'clock my time, and so it's sort of an odd time, and it's not really sunny here today. Not that it's bad. Oh, that made it worse. Can you turn that light on above the big light? I'm gonna see if this light ahead of us, because there's such a glare right now. I don't know how to. If I turn and turn this lamp off, and let's see if that's better. Hi, Tracy. Oh no, is that better or worse? Can somebody tell me? Is that better or is that worse? The lighting. Can you guys tell me? I'm like, let me see if I can fix it. It's just a weird time of day here, and so the lights make a big deal. Make a big difference. I don't know if it's better or worse. I'll try to move everything off my space so that you don't have any glare. So these are my new little books, and I'm like super in love with them. I don't know if you can see this little tiny toucan, but the page has a little toucan on it. The shadow the other way was better. Okay. Will you turn off the big light then? One of my kids is home, and so she'll turn it off and see if it's better. It'll probably get, yeah, that's better now. It'll ebb and flow as the sun. My house is usually super bright in the day. Sorry, ladies. So anyway, I'm in love with this book, and it's got so many really cool little, like, I don't know, like little bits and pieces in it that, like, look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? And I know the color's really bright, but I'm like loving it. So anyway, this is my new little. I know I'll end up making a junk journal out of it, but I just love the graphics of it so much that. Let me see if I can zoom in and you guys can really see it. So what are you guys all gonna, hopefully you brought your junk mail along to make along. It's gonna be a super fun. Let me see if I can autofocus it in. I may not be able to. Hi, Ash. I know, right? Those owls, the owls totally remind you of 70s macrame. I totally agree with you. It is like ridiculous. But I just love them. I think they're so cute. I really do. I think that they're really fun, fun, fun. So tell me about your week. What did you guys do? So for me, I had a crazy week. Look at this picture, and look, it has they're like doodled. This is like some toucans. It's a great little book. Oh, the autofocus. Sorry, you guys, I gotta fix it. I am like, let me see if I can get the autofocus back to work. I know, right? Super cool, super cute. It's really fun. I know this. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this book, but this is my new. This one was one of my new thrift store finds, and I'm in love. Look, they even have parrots. It's so great. I'm like totally into it. I'm trying to read at the same time, and it's a little bit hard to like read, and I haven't mastered it yet. So this is my new thrift store find, The Spice of Life, and then this was my second thrift store find. And this one's called The First Book of Fruits. Now I think this was a library book. I think it was, yes it was. So you can see it was withdrawn from the library. But I think it's the green one, the Spice of Life wasn't a library book, but this one was. You celebrated your 48th birthday? Oh, you know what? That was my mom's birthday, Regina. Oh, happy birthday. I celebrated your birthday too then, because I celebrated my mom's birthday. Awesome. Happy birthday. You're going to a library sale tomorrow? Oh no, I'm a little nervous for you. So this book, I really love the cover of it, The First Book of Fruits. I'm like loving the cover, but I'm also loving, if you can see the graphics in it, they're just beautiful. They're just, it has these really sort of sepia toned graphics, and they're just really beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to using this one too. So yeah, I'm vacillating with whether I take the pages. Usually I just cut the pages up. So I'm vacillating whether I take the pages and try to keep them whole, and then scan them and then cut up the scans. So it has really just beautiful pieces inside, and the cover's nice too. So I know I'll use the cover as a small junk journal, and I'm going to and then I'm going to use the interior bits. I don't know exactly what for. I don't know if I'm going to make embellishments out of them. I don't know if I'm going to I don't know what I'm going to do with them. If I scan them, then I could probably print them out on junk mail or print them out on other book pages and then use them as pockets and different embellishments. So these were my two thrift store finds of the week. So I felt super excited. So has anybody worked in their junk mail book, the one that we've been working on? So I worked a little bit in it, and I thought maybe we would do a little collage for the end of this, but what we're going to start first is we're going to start with our junk mail, with our, Regina, this was the junk mail book that we made, that we took a book, an old hardback book, and we took the insides out. It was like one of those, I don't know if it was I don't remember which book it was. I think it was a 1 Minute Money Manager, one of those type of books that usually you can find in mass quantity for free. And we faux painted it in one of the live streams, and then we painted our junk mail, and then we put it all in, and then last week we sewed them together in signatures, and we added tags and tabs, and I've collaged a little bit in it. I really haven't gotten to do much. This week's been a little bit busy for me. So tell me about what you guys have been doing. What's been going on for your week? I don't know. You know what? I have a lot of children, so it's always filled. My weeks are always filled with kids. So for those of you that want to make along, what we're gonna do is somebody asked. Oh know if it was last week or the week before, and then I got a couple of emails about it. When you get a lot of books from the library or from, wherever you're getting them from, yard sales and stuff, a lot of times we have all these book jackets, and you can use the book jacket. Let me fix the focus again. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not all. A lot of times we have all these extra book jackets left over. And all of this came about because of, what do you do with them? How does it work? What do you do with them? That sort of thing. And so, trying to fix the camera so that it's not so, it's a delay. So, sorry you guys. So anyway, we were talking about book jackets, and what do you do with your book jackets? And I put them I put them inside junk journals as well as make journals out of them. So a lot of times you'll find a really beautiful book jacket, but the book itself is not nice. It's not that it's not nice; it's just not anything extraordinary. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on making a little junk journal out of a book jacket. And I'm going to fix my camera, my autofocus. I think it's better now. So this is one of the ones that I'm in process making, and then I got an extra one so we can do it start to finish. So what you need is a book jacket, and you can use junk mail. These are just book pages that I had, because as you see my love for books, but you can use your junk mail. You can use scrapbooking paper. Realize anything that I show you, just because I'm sort of obsessed with making it out of recycled materials, doesn't mean you can't use exactly what you have. So if you have beautiful scrapbooking paper and all of that, it works exactly the same with scrapbooking paper as it does with your junk mail. So this was a book cover that I liked. The book itself was really plain. It was one I got from a library sale. It wasn't in perfect condition. What I did was I took part of a express mail envelope. I get a lot of mail, so I cut off a piece of an express mail envelope, and I used it and I glued it into the spine, right where the spine would be of the book. And then I cut an extra piece of scrapbooking paper because I like the color of it. Now I'm going to use these as pockets, so I'm going to actually glue the inside of the dust jacket down to make pockets. But this is just filled with random book pages and different stuff like that. And you can see the back part's already glued down. Now this book cover was not in great condition. The front part was, and I really liked it, but the back part wasn't. It had like some sort of water damage. So what I did is I went to my die cutting machine and I cut up some green scrapbooking paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these, and this is a Tim Holtz Tattered Florals die. I'm going to layer on the back of my book. I'm going to just layer some of these little book flowers to cover up the water damage on the spine part. But what's kind of cool about this is that you could use this and cover. You could paint it. If you're going to paint it though, you might want to sand it first, because it is sort of it does have a bit of a, I don't know, it has a bit of a edged, like shiny tooth to it, like there's no actual tooth to the book cover itself. So I'm just going to use like tacky glue, and I'm going to glue down these little bits and flowers and stuff that I die cut, and then I'm going to let it dry, and I may go back and put a layer of Mod Podge over it, or maybe I won't. I don't know. It's sort of like, it just makes you look to see what you can do. Yeah, glossy finish. Yes, you got it, Rose. My head's not, it's Friday. And I'm glad it's Friday. Are you guys glad it's Friday? I'm so glad it's Friday. So tell me about your week. I have had You know me, I have my I Love Lucy moments every single day. I don't think there's a day that goes by that didn't where I don't have some I Love. Hi, Crafty Girl Purple 62. So gather yourself about 10 pieces of junk mail or book pages or whatever you want to, do and put on your bits and pieces, and we'll get started in just a second. I was just gonna go ahead and try and fix this water damaged bit. I liked the front cover, so I didn't feel there was really any need. I guess I could have covered the whole thing with scrapbooking paper, or in the back, but it wasn't really that. Focused on it. In fact, I didn't really even notice it until I finished the book, and then I was like, oh, so that's what was going on with me. So tell me about your week. Has everybody had a really good week? I hope you have. I hope you guys have had some fun this week. What's the weather like where you guys are? Where I am, I can't complain. It's always kind of like the same here. So, we find it unbearable when it gets ridiculously, what would be considered hot summer weather for some. We find it ridiculously, when you live in a place like this, your blood gets thinner and thinner. So that's really all it is. So I want you guys to tell me about you and tell me about your week and tell me what you guys did, and I want to hear all about it, because that's half the fun of this, is hearing what you guys do all week and that sort of thing. I did kids, I have children, so I did kids stuff. I did children as always. You had a lot of rain? Oh no. What's fun about people that come to the Hawaiian Islands. I live in Hawaii, so people that come here, and especially if you're coming March and April and part of May, that's our rainy season. We don't really have a winter, but we do have we do get bits and pieces of rain, and we need the rain so desperately, because without the rain you wouldn't have a shower here, so it's kind of fun for us. People come and complain about the rain, and then you say, well, did you did you drink any water? Did you take a shower? Well, that's where all of our water comes from. So we love the rain. You're babysitting your daughter's baby chicks. Oh my gosh, how many baby chicks, Lisa? That's awesome. Awesome sauce. Sounds so good. Baby chicks sound awesome. So I don't even know what I'm going to do with this book when I'm done. I made a few of these and I gave them away, and I made them with blank paper on the inside. I think they're more fun made with fun scrapbooking paper, personally. That's what I think. But junk mail than plain paper. But I made a bunch with some plain paper. One of my daughters has a lot of friends that paint and stuff like that, and so she asked me if I'd make her a few so she could give them to her friends as gifts, and so I did. But it's kind of a fun way to... Oh, they're a month old, the baby chicks? Oh my gosh. I bet you that is so fun. Are they loud and noisy? Your baby chicks? That sounds so fun. So anyway, if you guys have a die cutting machine and you only want to invest in one really cool die, get this Tim Holtz Tattered Florals die. I have to tell you, I have used this die so many times over, and it is such a fun die to have, and I've used it on a bunch of... You can make a variation of flowers with the four... It comes with 4 flowers that you cut out from the die, but it's little chirpers. Oh my gosh, I bet they are adorable. So I like this die. If you guys, I'm not, I don't have like a ton of different scrapbooking supplies, but I don't even know why I bought that particular die, but I'm super happy that I did because I use it all the time. I use it all the time, and I'm never disappointed in the die. I use it. I like to make a lot of brown paper flowers, out of your shopping bags out of it. But I thought since the front was green, that I may add some more later, but at least it covered up the water. Can't really see the water, and I may come back and like doodle on it. And I still have to glue the front part in, but I'm gonna let this part dry and we can start our own. We can start our new one. So grab your junk mail, and it doesn't have to be painted. I mean, in one of the videos we did paint your junk mail, and that's super fun. If you haven't painted your junk mail, I find it fun. And you can turn your junk mail into some really cool stuff. And so I'm just going to let this dry, and then... So this is a Japanese book jacket, and I thought it was kind of cool. Now, Japanese books open the opposite way, so this will actually be on the back. The cool graphic will be on the back, and it's called Marriage, and it's Alternatives Becoming Partners in Japanese. But I thought it was kind of cool. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to put. I don't particularly want Carl Rogers, the author, on the front of my book, but I'll just try to figure out like what I can do. You had baby chicks when you were a child? 2 dozen of them? Oh. I grew up in Texas, so I had all of that, chickens and everything you can imagine. One of my set of grandparents were farmers, and so they had everything. Both sets of grandparents had gardens and chickens and that sort of thing, and I loved them. My dad actually, one of my mother's most ridiculous, I must have been about, I don't know, 9 or 10. And my dad decided he would raise chickens in our house, in our kitchen. And so my mother quit cooking. Isn't that funny? So that was... she decided to quit cooking, so all the chickens were in our kitchen. So, the first thing you want to do when you have... That's my chicken story. So I had chickens. I had a pet chicken when I was younger, and I had all variations. My grandparents were very eclectic in their chicken breed, so I am very familiar with chickens. Chickens, actually, we're in Texas. I'm from the Houston area. Are you from Texas too? So, my grandparents were very into all different sorts of chickens, and it was good. Here in Hawaii, chickens are kind of wild here. You moved to Texas with your daughters. Where in Texas? Northeast Texas? Tell me where. Where in Northeast Texas? My dad's from East Texas. But Texas is such a big state, so it's hard to, right? People from Texas are awesome. So if you don't have a book jacket, you could also use one of these sort of heavy cards, you get in the mail, these postcard style junk mail. You could also use that. Like this one's kind of a cool one here, at least the image on the front is cool. And you could use this as a journal cover if you didn't have your book jacket, and if you didn't have or a book cover, you could use something like this as your junk mail cover, as your journal cover as well. So what I did was I measured my book jacket, and I cut most of the mail, and it doesn't all fit 100%, but I cut just bunches. These are all the insides of the mail. You know, the yucky part of the junk mail, like, it's not that it's the yucky part, but, you know, it's not like the cool envelope bits, or it didn't have any really cool graphics, or whatever. It was just like the paper part, you know, like the paper part of all the, North Dallas. Oh, Clarksville. I know where that is. Awesome. Hey, Deb. You know, I love Texas. People from Texas are the most generous people I know. I mean, I was like a fifth generation Texan, but I don't, obviously don't live there anymore. I haven't lived there, and I left when I was really, probably when I graduated from high school, I left. A lot of my family still lives there, though, and every time I go back, it's really great. So, anyway, back to my little junk mail rant. So, this isn't, you know, like, you get all these bills and different types of, like, offers and stuff. So these are the offer bits. Like, I think this one was for life insurance, and then, I don't know, you can kind of tell there were life insurance, and then health insurance premiums, and then, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. So that's what I'm using as my pages. Now, what's really cool about this is, if you've never made a junk journal, is that you can take this, and what we did, let me find the one that we did where we painted it. This one is completely made from those pieces of junk mail. You know, these are, it's just painted. So, you know, it just kind of gives you an idea. Now, you can use this for anything. You can use this, I started collaging in mine, so you can use it as a glue book. You could use it as a proper writing journal. The only thing is, if you're going to use it as a proper writing journal, when you paint over it with acrylic paint, you're going to need to use like a Sharpie marker or a paint pen, or something else. There are some ballpoint pens that work on it, but you know, you just have to test out your acrylic paint to see if you were gonna if it works, if you're gonna use it as a writing journal. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read what you guys are saying, and I can't. Kentuckians are sweethearts too. I'm sure they are. You know, and so people from Hawaii are very nice as well. But, you know, it's like when you're born and raised someplace, Texas, I have to say, every time I go back, I always think to myself, you know, like, how much I really appreciate growing up there, and how much I really appreciate. They have what we would call in Hawaii the aloha spirit. You know, I'm sure that they do everywhere, but it's just what I'm familiar with. Your son says you would fit in because you're so sweet. People are very kind there. You know, they just really are. So, Regina, if you haven't made a junk journal, it's so fun. And, you know, you can make it from anything. Like the one that I made, this one that's drawing here, is made out of book pages, right? So, but we're just focusing on junk mail today. So, back to my book jacket cover. Okay, so you want to decide, like, how many pages you want in your junk journal. And some book jacket covers, if you're going to use if you get one that has a really wide spine, you can put multiple signatures in it. And this one's just sort of small. And you can use it the same way you would a regular junk journal. You can use it as a glue book or a writing journal or whatever you'd like. So what I've done is I've just put together some of my junk mail. And I did cut some of it off. I may have to go back and cut some more. But I cut some of it to fit, and I have some envelopes somewhere around here, some book page envelopes, not book page envelopes, some junk mail envelopes, and which are my favorite. And so I'll probably put a couple of those in there. And I'm saving my security bit for maybe a pocket. You want a small one like the tiny book I have? I'm telling you, last week we talked about, like this book, last week we talked about, this book was a tiny book. It probably had less than 100 pages in it. And we talked about, we also made, I don't know where it is. We made these, a painting book out of This is one of those Who Moved My Cheese or 1 Minute Money Managers, and they all have about 100 pages in them. So those are usually a good book to, and this one's just painted with chalkboard paint. But that's kind of a fun way to start. But today, let's just do it with our book cover, or if you have a piece of heavy duty junk mail, or like one of these envelopes that comes. This makes a good cover too. One of these junk mail envelopes as well, or a manila envelope, or anything. There's no rhyme or reason. You just want something probably a little bit heavier on the outside of your journal than you do on the front part, and than you do on the inside. If you're going to take it in and out of your purse or use it on a regular basis. Let me just see what other junk mail I have here that might be good for this little book. Oh, you made an accordion book. Awesome! I'm a little addicted to making those accordion books. I am actually very addicted to making those accordion books. I made, let me see, the one that I use all the time. I have a bunch of different ones. The one that I use right now for my, sorry guys, I knocked over my little jar. One that I use right now to like carry a bunch of stuff around is this one that I made out of a business magazine, right? So this is the accordion book. If you guys want to go back and look, I have a whole tutorial on making accordion magazines, and also how to make accordion books. I'm a little addicted to them there. This has all my collaging junk mail pieces in there, so I'm right there with you. I just want to add a few more pieces to my junk mail and I'm gonna have to cut it off. I realize that. So what's really super cool about this is once you start making stuff out of your junk mail, you are never gonna see your junk mail the same way again. You're gonna be like so excited. And I have friends now that save me their junk mail, and I end up with it on my porch. Oh, that's kind of a cute piece of junk mail. I end up with it on my porch. I'll end up with a bag of junk mail somebody will have dropped off. This is kind of cool. Even these this is like those summary things that you get. These are awesome too. I mean, you can use all of it. You don't have to just, you don't have to be selective. You can use every piece of junk mail. It's like it all works. I'm just going to go ahead and, usually I would take this to my paper cutter, but it's across the room. I have one of those guillotine paper cutters, those ones that you used to have when you were in high school. You would see somebody cut them, No, it doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. There's no right or wrong in junk mail, and there's no right or wrong in junk journals, okay? So you don't have to have it completely perfect, and I may still have to cut off more because it may not fit in my cover. And it doesn't have to fit. You could make it, bigger than your cover if you wanted to. No rules in junk journaling. So if you wanted to make pockets, you can even, if I have a big enough piece of junk mail, I'll show you guys how to make some junk mail pockets too. I mean, I make all kinds of stuff, and I even save these little bits that come out of your magazines. They make really cool tags and really cool things to write on as well in your junk journals too. That one's a security envelope. If it has a really cool security envelope thing inside, I usually keep it. I usually don't. I got a puppy, you guys. Sorry, she's my neighbor is coming home, so she's having at it. So when you get your junk mail to the size that you want, now what you want to think about is if you want to use one of these envelopes and you want to stick it in the middle of your junk mail, in the middle of your junk journal, just snip the end of it off like that, and then that way it fits really easy, and you can go back and cut it straight or cut it rounded or whatever you want to do. I just cut mine at an angle so that it fits in the middle of my junk mail. So I think I have I don't know how many pages I have, but it looks pretty good to me. Let's see what you're saying. Yeah, let me see what you guys are saying. You want to do the accordion book too? Regina, that's really addictive. You need some of those accordion books. They're so easy to make, and they're so... Adjusting paper size is your downfall. You know what? Mine too. Okay? But it's only a junk journal, so we're not even going to get ourselves upset about it if it's not perfect. Usually if I'm going to, like, cut it at my paper cutter, I will measure it. But it's not even going to matter. Like, even after I put it together today, I could take it back over to my paper cutter, my guillotine paper cutter, and cut it there. So it's not... Okay, hang on a second. Let me see. Do I know Claudia who moved from California to Hawaii? You know, there are multiple Hawaiian islands, and I don't know her. But I don't. You know what? I've only met one other person that does this sort of ridiculous crafting here here in Hawaii. So you can see my little Japanese bits and pieces. Now, if you look, you can do the same thing if you were going to use this. You know, if you were going to use your heavy-duty postcard, this works well too. The key is you want to put a little piece of this Tyvek, this express mail envelope, FedEx envelope, or you can buy it in a roll. You cannot buy it where I am. So whenever my partner gets mail he gets express mail every week from work. So we just save this. I don't think Tyvek breaks down. So I don't think that I think it would be like plastic in a landfill. So, you know, I try to recycle as much as I can. So that's just sort of where I'm at with it. So this is the key to me. And you can use this in your regular junk journaling too. You know, like when you're doing a regular, like an envelope junk journal or any type of junk journal actually. I'm just going to cut a piece. You don't even need a lot of it, but I'm going to cut it. You just need a piece where you're going to sew. I mean, you could put it all the way across, but as you can see in this one, what I did is I didn't put it all the way across. I just I left that side without gluing it in so you could see. I glued it partially into the book, the dust jacket, and then I am going to glue a piece of scrapbooking paper. You could glue junk mail down if you wanted. I just liked it because I liked the book cover. The book jacket. I thought it was kind of sweet. Now, when you're gluing this down, I would suggest that you use like a PVA style glue. Or I guess you could use my head I can't hold a thought today, you guys. I really cannot hold a thought. Permanent glue stick. So, I'm sorry, I'm missing the whole chat. I'm missing what you do. But I like to trade places with you even for a week. All your art supplies are in... If you guys came here, you would be like out of your mind. I promise I will do a tour of my art space. So my art space used to be one of our extra bedrooms. All of our kids have moved out except one, and she's 10. And then obviously she's too young to move out. But one of my kids decided she was coming back for just a little while before she moves to Europe. Well, actually, she's moving to the Far East now. Well, she's moving to Asia. She's moving to Japan. So I took everything out of my room and I put it in our dining alcove. And so my family, although they're very tolerant of me, I'm sure that they would like my stuff to be somewhere else. My space is not, it's so small and it's not organized. So I was telling everybody last week about my failure at the KonMari method of organization. It was like so ridiculous. I was failing madly at the KonMari method of organizing. Now, if any of you guys work in offices, you know, ask for them to save you the express mail or the FedEx envelopes, not the paper ones. I mean, you can use those too, but the Tyvek ones. We get so many. I used to work in a place where we would get, I don't know, 30 or 40 a day. And so if you have those make really great journal reinforcements. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it down. Now I'm gluing mine with tacky glue, and I'm using a very beat up one of those free credit card things that comes in the mail to spread my glue. And you want to spread it really thin, and you don't want to water it down because it will warp your paper. I'm going to spread a little on my paper, and then I'm going to spread it on my Tyvek. Now the other thing you want to think about is if your book jacket is white, you will see the markings of this through it. So you might want to just go ahead and put it on the inside like this and then paint it. If your book jacket's dark, it won't matter. So I'm just letting you know if you're picky, even though it's junk mail. Crafty Girl, I'm going to tell you, I started making, I'm talking about I see you, for those that, because the chat doesn't stay up, just the video does. So Crafty Girl is just saying that, she doesn't have a lot of crafting supplies. And I'm just going to tell you this. You can make any one of these projects from everything that you have in your own home, or from the recycling, or from, that's what I think I love most about junk journaling, is that you can make it from household stuff. And, you really need nothing. I made my first junk journals several years ago for my kids, and I don't even think I spent $10 on anything, and I think most of it was just because I bought a bunch of paint and stuff that I'm still using to this day. So, if you wanted to, you could make all of this from your household items, from your junk mail, from your recycling. There's plenty of times that I use the cardboard that things come in, not necessarily even in my own home. I mean, my neighbors saved me their junk mail. I don't know about your library, but our library also has books that they give away. Sometimes they have like lots of damaged books, and those they're just going to throw away. And so you can make all of this with stuff you have right in your very own home. It's not even anything that you have to spend any money on. And I think that's what attracted me initially to making junk journals, was that I didn't have to go and I didn't have to have like the perfect supplies, or I didn't have to have any of that. I could make it from anything, and that's what I've done. So, you know what, and you can get, I'm going to tell you, so like I bought the very first junk journals I made, which if you go on my YouTube channel and you look at the video, I'm sorry, I got glue on this and I don't want to lay my book cover down in it. If you go on my YouTube channel and you look at the video where it says junk journal is a coffee table book, that was like one of the very first junk journals I ever made, and I made it I made my kids. So we hand make all of our gifts that we give for the holidays, for your birthday, and etc. Always have. So you can imagine my kids are in their 20s, that I've given and made them so many different things that after a while, you want to make them something different. And I don't even really remember like how I decided I wanted to make them a junk journal. I don't even know. So I went and I've made altered books before and stuff like that, but I've never really just jumped in and made a junk journal. So I went to the library, and they have a free book box, and I think I got like 4 or 5, I don't know, 4 or 5 books. I made 4 or 5 junk journals because I gutted them, and I still am using those book pages. I got all these different weird books, like I don't know, I can't even remember because I painted them all, and I didn't. And back then, I wasn't even doing any YouTube videos or anything like that. I was just in my own little junk journal world. In my own little world, I don't even think I even. In fact, I don't even think I even knew anything about, or I was, even conscious of YouTube stuff. I mean, of course I knew YouTube existed, but I wasn't, if I'd been smart, I would have gone on there and looked and seen other people's junk journals. I think for me, what it was I had seen one of the ladies that I'm a studio jeweler, so, if you're a sculptor or a jeweler, it's sort of a very solitary, it's okay. She's okay. It's a very solitary thing, so I didn't even know that to even look on YouTube to find anything like that. And so, will you tell them that will you tell them before my family's all coming home, so they suddenly get really loud. So I didn't even know. So I'm sorry, I'm rambling. So the point I'm making is, somebody I knew gave me an altered book that she'd made, and we were having this conversation, and she showed me a junk journal she'd made. Now, her junk journal was way better than mine because she made all the paper herself. She was very into recycling, but what she would do is she would take her junk mail and she would make paper pulp and do this whole thing. I have to tell you, I was not that advanced. I mean, I had made handmade books before in my early 20s, and I had made paper and that sort of thing. But when I was sitting down to think about the prospects of making 4 Christmas gifts or 5 Christmas gifts for my kids and that sort of thing, it didn't evolve. I don't know why I didn't think about going on YouTube. I should have. If I'd gone on YouTube, I would have probably been much more inspired, and they would have been much more elaborate than they were. But mine were pretty simple, and I made them to be functional so that they could use them as a sketchbook, or they could use them as an artist rendering book, or paint book, or glue book, or diary. Fast forward. I think my middle daughter, she does. I've made her several, and she writes in journals and paints. The book that you're going to see that's on my channel where it says making a junk journal as a coffee table book, my oldest daughter, who's an engineer and a graphic designer, she hasn't even drawn in hers because she liked it just the way it is. And because she's actually moving out of the country, her stuff is in storage at my house, so that's even why I still have it. So my long-winded story to tell you that was, the books themselves didn't cost me anything. What I spent money on was I bought like a $3 jar or $4 jar of chalkboard paint. I bought glue. I bought some washi tape because I didn't have any. And where I live, trust me, there wasn't much. And I bought like paper clips and stuff like that. And everything else, if you go back and look in it, if you go back and watch that video, everything else is just made from these book pages. So it cost me absolutely nothing. So, yeah. Your glue sucks. You know what? Having good glue does work. And if you start making these books, you'll see. So all I've done now is I've just put my Tyvek inside here just to strengthen the spine. And you don't have to do that. You could put masking tape. You could glue a piece of heavier junk mail on it. You could, in my other junk journals, I love to use Gorilla Tape. It's just good if you're going to sew through it. And so now we have a bunch of pages that we can sew into this little book. So then now all we're going to do is just sew them in. So I may make some pockets. So let me just decide really quick if I'm going to make, if I'm going to make any folded paper. Let me see if I have any big junk mail that I can make, that I haven't cut up, that I can make a couple of big folded pockets with, or something like that. So let me see what you guys are saying. I'm missing everything. I haven't made a homemade jelly plate, They are expensive though to make. It almost I did price it out to make one. I think you can buy a really small one. I have one somewhere around here. A homemade jelly plate is probably, you can buy one for under $20, like $10, $12, and a homemade one is about $10. So I don't think you save that much money on the jelly plate, and especially if you have Amazon Prime, you can get your shipping for free. Yeah, there's lots of things that you can do and make for free. And you know what's so fun is that you'll suddenly start to see that all of your bits and pieces and all of your junk mail and different things like that are going to be like the perfect thing for you to add to your crafting process. So if you're going to make some pockets, now you don't have to make them now. I mean, if you want to sew them into your signature, you might, like if you want to make and I can glue them together later. I was hoping to have a really big piece of junk mail so that I could make a cross fold pocket, but I don't think I have anything. Let me see. I have a tsunami glossary. See, I bet you guys don't get that. A tsunami glossary. Let me see if I can find the center fold of the tsunami. Oh yes, I can unstaple it. I can make a big pocket out of this. All right, what are you guys saying? That's so generous, Deb. You know what? We all probably have bits and pieces that we aren't using in our crafting things, but just so you realize that none of this has to be. Most of the craft paint that I use is that Apple Barrel brand that you can buy at Walmart, the big box store I always don't like to talk about, but I will now. You can buy that at Walmart for 50 cents a bottle. And if you look, and if you have I have no craft stores where I am, so I can't get all those. I hear all these ladies say, "Oh, well, I had a 50% coupon off of this here or there." That isn't something that I have. So, if you do have those types of craft stores and you do sign up for their frequent shopping bits or whatever it is that you get, you can get 50% off your you can get 50% off your glue and that sort of thing. So that can be kind of good. Okay, so I'm just going to take this really large one of those really large pieces, and I'm going to make a folded pocket. Let me just see. You can make them a couple of different ways. If you make them this direction, you can, this is how I'm going to do it. I also have a video, if you go on to my channel, you can see there's a whole video on making pockets for your junk journals and stuff like that. So the only thing you want to do is, if you're going to make one of these type of pockets, is you want to make sure that your junk mail isn't bigger than your piece of, and the thing that isn't taller than the top of your, you want to cut it off. That's all. I'm going to make them the same size, and I'll show you why in just a second. Now this isn't perfect because I'm just re-cutting it and I'm not measuring, but it doesn't matter, it's junk mail. Okay, so when you have your larger piece of junk mail, and I folded it in half, then what you want to do is you want to fold it in half again so that it fits inside your spine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open it up and you're going to fold opposite sides in on each other, like one side, and then you're going to do the side across from it, and then that's going to give you two automatic pockets for your junk journal. And then you can go back and glue the bits in if you want later, but you don't have to. So this is just a super simple way to use your junk mail and to to make yourself a really fun little quick. And you can, I use these for grocery lists and doodle books and I don't know. What do you guys use your junk journals for? It's so addicting, Regina, I will tell you. And you can make these really beautiful. So anything that you can do with your junk mail, you can also do with regular scrapbooking supplies. So I don't want you to think that, some people aren't into junk mail. But I just don't want you to think that you need to go out and buy anything in order to do this. Okay, I think I'm almost ready to start sewing my bits in. I'm going to find some clips. So the next thing you want to do is, if you have a couple of paper clips, you want to go ahead and you want to clip at least one side of your page down before you start. Here they are. Before you start sewing. And I'm using I finally found my needles. I told you guys last week I couldn't find I didn't know where I had relocated my needles, but I found them. Now, you can measure if you want to make this absolutely perfect. I'm not going to. It's just junk mail. You do want it to line up at least on one end, so I'm going to have all mine line up on the bottom. But, it's junk mail. It doesn't have to be perfect. And let me see what you guys are saying. You want to do collage and drawing practice? Well, I did start collaging in my book. Did you start collaging in your book? I started collaging in my book from our last time, the book that we all made together last week. I started collaging in mine. Far from perfect, but I started collaging. Okay, so this is the thing, is that you want to have something to, if you want to measure and make sure that it comes out perfect on your spine, you want to have something to poke it into. And usually I poke it into a phone book because that is a really easy way to, that's a good thing, it's a good, something good to poke it into, like instead of just poking it into here. And I have my phone book, but it's right over here somewhere. I'm going to read what you guys are writing. Okay, she says, you used to make art and junk. Oh. Before your sister passed. Oh no. Well, it's time to start again, Crafty Girl. You know what? I have to tell you, you can, as many of the ladies will tell you in the chat, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm really, really, really sorry. I know that sometimes things like that can put a halt into the things that you do in your life, and I completely understand that. I've gone through a few of those things myself. But I can guarantee you that if you start doing something like this, you'll find some real joy in it. It's a lot of fun to create something from nothing. So Ash, what are you saying? You're saying you started cutting out your images? Yeah, me too. I cut out a bunch of images and I cut out some background stuff. I think one of my favorite sayings was what Carrie Fisher said. She said, take your broken heart and turn it into art. And so whenever I'm going through a whole lot of stuff, which I do, I'm sure all of us do, I think about what she said, and I try to focus on that and not on my ridiculousness. I had a smaller needle here, but I don't know what I did with it. I decided to clean off my space a little bit right before our live stream because I had so much bits and pieces of gluing stuff and bits and pieces, and now this needle's quite big. So I'm just using a sewing darning needle. You can use anything you want. It just needs to go through your paper. And let me see if I can find my phone book really quick. And So I have something to poke it into, because if you don't have something to poke it into, you can stab yourself, which I've done too. Have you guys done that? I've done that too. You know, phone books are pretty much obsolete, but they're great for junk journaling. You can use them for pages in your junk journal, but you can also use them for your so you have to, for your, I don't know, what do you want to call it, your junk journal sewing catcher, I don't know. You need to decide if you're going to go in through the center, the inside of your junk journal. You can make a choice. You can sew it from the outside in or the inside out. This is just a super simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I go from the inside because I leave the tails on the inside. You could go from the outside if you wanted to do that instead. You know, it's up to you. So I'm not measuring mine. I'm just going to eyeball it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just junk mail. You do want to think about, though, if you are going to use like really small pieces of junk mail, which this book has in it, you want to be able to catch it. You want to make sure that you're catching at least one. So all I'm doing is I'm going through each piece. I'm going to go through each piece of my junk mail. Now, if you have a lot in your signature, you may want to do it one piece at a time. I've done that too. If you have extra thick pieces of junk mail, you may want to, take it out, and then you would probably need a template. But this one I'm not templating. You know, if you go online, if you go on YouTube, you can see a lot of different people will show you a bunch of different ways to sew in your signatures. There's no right or wrong way, just whatever works for you. Unless somebody has... Okay, now once you sew this, you can... No, you want to, once you've filled it up, okay, if you're going to make a pamphlet stitch journal like this, and you're going to make it go all the way through the back, no, you can't add any more pages to it. Now, you can add more pockets if you want to go back in on the pages that you have, glue in pockets and different tuck spots and stuff like that. But no, you want to go ahead and, this would be like a, sorry guys, do you see my thimble? Do you love it? Just be careful when you're using these big needles, and you can stab yourself. No, you're correct. You can't add any more to it once you've sewn it in. I mean, you could if you took it apart, but you know, this is just a small signature junk journal. So, but what you can do is once you've got your pages sewn in, you can go back in and paint it. You can go back and paint your junk mail. You can paint it before, you can paint it afterwards. Now, the one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you use a clip or something to clip your tail down, because it's not tied down. You'll pull it through, and trust me, I've done that many times. Sorry guys, got my mess going on here. Alright, so now we just have one. We have, our piece sewn through, the center signature sewn through. So remember, you guys, I told you that I got a puppy, and I wasn't sure what kind of dog it was. Well, we figured out what kind of dog it is. It's a whippet. You guys familiar with whippets? I wasn't. I mean, I've heard of them, but I wasn't so familiar. She's an awesome little puppy. I have to tell you, we're totally smitten with her. She is awesome. We've got a little rescue dog, and I said she kind of looked like a cross between a greyhound and a chihuahua, and we found out she's a whippet. She's awesome. She's so smart, and she's so sweet. She definitely has some issues. You can tell she was definitely abused, and that part makes me so sad, because she's the sweetest dog. But I think she's fine. I think she's kind of getting over it and liking it here. I mean, we all love her so much, so she's like a baby. We all treat her like she's a princess. I know, it is a funny name, isn't it? Your dog looks like a whippet, but it's a mutt. We thought she was half Chihuahua, half Greyhound, because her body's like a Greyhound, but her head's like a Chihuahua, and then I don't remember how we found out she's a whippet. But she's so sweet. She's so smart. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is you wanna go into the center, then you're gonna go back out and sew through here. I'm gonna poke my hole in from this side though, because I won't be able to see it from the other side. So you can poke it, and then I'm not gonna pull my thread through, but I'm just gonna go ahead and poke it through. Let me see what you guys are saying. Your dog looks like a whippet. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, what are you going to make with your cereal boxes? Are you going to make a junk journal with them? Somebody sent me the coolest journal in a swap, and her cover was made from a cereal box, and I love it. I'll have to show it to you guys sometime. So if you guys haven't, oh, I know what I was going to tell you. So I was talking to Phaedra the other day. She was in our discussion last time, or she was on last time we were on. And if you go to her channel, and I'll link it after this whole thing's over, I'll link it in the description box below. She is making herself her own Mother's Day junk journal, and can I tell you, it is so beautiful. Her Mother's Day junk journal, hi Dee! Her Mother's Day junk journal is amazing. And so I was talking to her, I said, what a great idea to make your own Mother's Day junk journal. So I am going to make myself my own Mother's Day junk journal. Are any of you girls in for that? Or any of you going to want to make your own Mother's Day junk journal? And she was so sweet. She was like, well, who else is going to make it for me if I don't make it for myself? I was like, right on. You were totally right. So all I'm doing right now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to poke my needle, because it's got a big a big eye. I'm going to pull it almost all the way through, and then I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to sew back through the other side. Okay? Just because I wouldn't have been able to see it. Now, if you were going to use a template, you would have marked it all or poked your holes before you made your journal. This is such a small one signature journal, I didn't really feel the need. So, and I am going to have to cut off some of my junk mail when I finish, because some of it is, like a couple of the pieces are too large for it, but maybe I'll tuck them in, I don't know, but I know it's not totally perfect, but it's all good. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to the top. You definitely don't want to lose, still don't want to lose your inside, your tail, and I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to poke the hole through. So you've sewn through the inside out, and then through the outside in, and then this is the tail, and then now you're going to go to the top of your junk journal, and because your pages are all different sizes, it doesn't matter if you don't get all of them. As long as you've gotten most of them, it's great, so it's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to poke it through. Now, yes, you could use an awl to do this. You could also use, they have Japanese bookbinding tools that poke holes and that sort of thing. This is a really large darning needle, so maybe you don't have a crafting store near you where you can buy an awl. You can use what you have at home. You don't have to go out and buy anything. Hi Sherry. Hi Dee. You ladies are so generous. That's so awesome. So Crafty Girl, we can't wait to see what you make. We're all looking forward to seeing what you make with your supplies, with your new crafting friends and supplies. So not all of the pieces are going to be caught all the way. Some of them it's only caught in two spaces. In two holes. And I cut this thread really long, which was silly, but oh well. So this little, and now I'm just going to go back through the same hole in the center signature. And as you can see, it's not perfect, and that's okay. If you want it perfect, you're going to have to measure it and do all the things that I didn't do. But it's not, to me, it's not that big of a deal. That it's not completely perfect. And you're going to go back through the same hole that you have in the center. Now, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this particular junk journal. I may use it as a glue book. I may use it as a painting roll-off book, and then use it as a glue book. I am not 100% sure. Be careful when you're doing this, ladies. Don't want to poke yourself. I have done it. I have poked myself. Okay, that's all there is to it. It is sewn. Now I'm just going to tie it in the center, and it is a done deal until I decide what I'm going to do next. Until I decide if I'm going to paint it or... And now I can go back and I can add some... I can cut off the pages that are too big. I do have a couple. The ones that I added at the very end were a little too long, but that's okay. And now I can go back and I can decide, okay, if I'm going to... What I'm going to do, if I'm going to... what I'm going to do, I definitely want to decorate the, I don't want the man's face on my front cover, but here it is. And now I can put scrapbooking paper like I did with my plant one, and I can glue more pages, and I can glue more bits into it, you know, whatever I'm going to put in it. I can take my security envelopes and make pockets and glue in it, or paint in it, or I don't know. Can gesso each page. If you are going to do that sort of thing, you want to put some sort of wax paper between it, and that's as easy as it gets. Okay, that is like as easy as it gets. You can't get it any easier than that. Super, super, super simple. So this is the one that I made earlier with a plant, and I just have to glue my front cover page in it. That's all. I just have to glue that in, and then it's a done deal too. Unless, I mean, I haven't done any decorating or anything like that, but that's it. So simple. Okay, wait, I'm missing. Hi, Lori! You love Real Junk Journal? Me too. Me too. I think I'm addicted more to Real Junk Journals than anything. Like, not that I don't like scrapbooking page ones. I do. It's just, you know what, ladies, where I live, there is not all that. Okay, I don't have access to it, and it's just not available here. So I'm just gonna put some glue on the back of this page, and then I'm gonna glue it in, and then you guys will get your glue books. For those of you that made glue books with me last week for your painted junk mail journals, get those out, and we can work on those a little bit if you guys want to read what you're telling me. See the map. Oh my gosh, I'm addicted to maps, Regina. I am like the map magnet, okay? I find maps in the oddest places. I am so addicted to maps, and I'm addicted to old atlases. Oh my goodness. Some of them have the nicest paper, like the nicest quality paper. It's like so cool. I'm addicted to that. And let me see. I'm addicted to map pages. I'm addicted to, you know what? I'm addicted to junk mail. All right, let's get real. Let's get some real about this. I'm addicted to junk mail. It's so ridiculous. Like the security envelopes. Oh man, security envelopes. Give me a security envelope any day. I'm still on the lookout. Somebody did tell me that the red security envelopes come from Target. They say they come from Target credit cards. So I guess I'll have to apply to Target for a credit card just to get the red security envelope. I made a junk journal. If you guys go on my channel and you look at this one that I made out of a Victoria's Secret shopping bag, in it I put this atlas page. Okay, I have to tell you, the paper on the atlas page, I think the atlas was from the 40s. Okay, the paper was so nice. It was like the quality and texture of that page, of that particular map was amazing. And I was like, I was so do you like my burnishers? These are my burnishers, ladies. Okay, I use like my glue stick tops. I know we talked about repurposing our glue sticks. I haven't even started mine. I was gonna make some homemade crayons and put them in mine, but I haven't. I haven't done it. So this is what I'm using as my burnisher. Do you love it? It's so fancy. It's a fancy burnisher. The top of your glue stick. And then I have to just trim off the bottom part. And I'm good to go, I think. What are you guys saying? Oh, you'll send me some red ones? Oh my God, Lori! You made my day. I was going to apply to Target just to have the red. That's ridiculous. Going to apply for a credit card just to have a red security envelopes. I have been working on your book, my dear. I'm not finished. I'm not anywhere near finished, but I started it. I found, you know, for me, I'm not a fast crafter. I know I see some of you ladies are like so quick. I mean, I can be quick if I'm just going to do like something with junk mail, but I'm just not quick when it comes to, like I like the things that I send to people to be like up to my standard. And I know that's ridiculous because it's all made from junk mail and stuff like that, but I have my own issues. I'm not going to lie. I have my own issues. And what else are you guys saying? Apply for, you would do something like that, Ash? Apply for a credit card just to get the red envelope? I know, it's right. You're working on upcycling? Oh, awesome, Rose. But we have discussed, for those of you that can't see our chat, we discussed, like, I have this issue, I have all these empty glue sticks. And so the conversation last week was, like, what do you do with all these glue sticks? And, you know, we were talking about how you can't, you know, they can't be recycled. Like, you can't put them, they end up in a landfill. And what you actually do with it. You flew to Canada? Oh, and your dad got sick? Oh, I'm so sorry, Lori. We'll be back to the U.S. on May 22nd. Awesome. I'm sorry about your dad. You know, I'm happy that you can go be with him. Both my parents have passed, so, you know, I have, like, taking care of your parents, for me, it was like a gift. It was like, you know, an opportunity to really get to be back with them again. And I enjoyed it, even though both of them passed fairly quickly. Okay, let's see what you wrote. I have a grandfather's Collier's Atlas and a Gazette copyright 1940. Woohoo! Guess all the pages will start. One day I will show you girls my Atlas ridiculousness. Okay? Everybody I know that lives near me knows that I could come home tomorrow and find a pile of maps and atlases on my front door because people know that I love it. Okay, let me see what else you guys are writing. What in the world are you guys talking about with the glue sticks? Okay, so you know how you have a million. Okay, I'm just going to show you just a few of mine. They're sitting in a little box over here because I don't know what to do with them. Okay, we have all these glue sticks and they're used up. And they're empty on the inside. You cannot recycle them. You can't, these go in a landfill. And as you all know, plastic does not break down. And so I have all these, I was talking to them, we were talking about how you come to this part where you start making things out of what you have. And when you start viewing your junk mail and your other stuff as art supplies, you suddenly realize that every single thing that you use, there's a consequence to that use. Not that you weren't aware of it before, but let's just honestly take a look at our lives. You know, all of these are like lids from juice and stuff like that. I use them for stamps. I use them, as you saw me using burnishers. I use them But how many do I need? And how many can I use? So we were having this conversation, and I was telling them, I said, for me, every single thing that when you live on an island, you become hypersensitive to what ends up in a landfill and what you can recycle. And I try to shop as consciously as I can, which is not always easy. So the conversation was, sometimes I won't buy things just for that reason. So the conversation was, what do you do with these glue sticks? And so we sort of challenged each other to come up with an idea of how to reuse your glue sticks. And somebody came up with the idea that she was going to hot glue all of hers together and make a really cool journal cover, which I think that's awesome. I decided I'm going to make crayons in mine. Like, I was going to make some, I'm sure in my house, because of my children, I must have a bunch of broken crayons. And if not, I can get them. School gets out here really soon. I can get them at the end of the school year, I'm sure, from the teacher if she doesn't keep them. Melt them down and make crayons. But what exactly can you do with your glue sticks? So we're challenging each other to see what we could do. Hey, you guys give me one little second time out. I need to get a computer charger. Hey, would you, let me see if I can get one of my kids to bring me a computer charger. Okay, let me see. Yes, okay, this plant book was not actually brilliant. The insides were brilliant, but the outside cover wasn't as brilliant. You know me and I'll show you my very favorite. So, this was my very favorite book that I'll show it to you, I have it right here, that I ever made a junk journal from, and I did a swap with somebody, and I sent him, I have to tell you, I was sort of, after I made the book, I was like, oh no, I can't let it go, that sort of thing. But of course I let it go. And then one of my kids, because she loves me so much, went on Amazon and bought me one. And then I had another friend watch one of my videos, and she sent it to me too. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm gonna make I was gonna make myself a journal at Christmas time, and I haven't. Okay, so now I have two versions of this book, and I'm in love with this book. Let me just put up my empty glue sticks, and so this is my favorite book, and as far as the front cover, one of them. My new one is that owl one that I got. But this book, so I made, if you look at my YouTube videos, I think it was Flowish Journal 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, and I sent a version of this book. I don't think it was exactly either one of these, because these are revised editions. I think the original one, I may have even sent the person that I sent it to a first edition. Okay, this is the 9th edition. I found mine at a thrift store that I made. This one, I don't know when the original one. This one says copyright 1973, but this is the 9th edition. So I think the first time it was made. This is the 7th edition. So I don't know, but you can go and look. So I love. Yes, if you let it go, it comes back to you. Yes, it came back to me twice. After you mentioned those books, I looked them up. I really had to use restraints not to buy them off eBay. You know what? These books, I think you could probably get on Amazon for less than $1 each, right? But it's the shipping of $3.99. The Owl book is similar. You can buy it for $1.55. The one I showed you guys last week, which I don't have it anywhere near me, but I'll show it to you another time. That one is a similar price. It's not expensive, and that one has 500 or 600 pages in it. It's pretty chock-a-block full. What I love about this book is the one that I sent. Look at the back cover. Isn't it cool? It's so 70s. I think the original one was done in the 60s. The pages inside. Now the one I sent her that I used for her, I think had colored pages in it. If I remember. I don't know, you guys, I'll have to look for the book block. But I loved the book. I love, and look, this one is just like that bird, my new little bird book. So I'm definitely going to make myself a junk journal out of one of these. Look, this one came from somebody who lived in Texas. Oh my gosh. They live in Louisville, Texas. They stamped their name in the book. And this one came from, I don't know. It has the person's book plate in it, her name, who owned it, but I don't know, it doesn't say where it came from. The owl book is $10. It isn't $10, Ash. It isn't. I will send you a link. Can you send me a message with your email, or because I won't, maybe I'll be able to see it if you send me a message with your email, I'll send you a link to where it is. It's not. It just looks like it has a different cover because the dust jacket on the book, mine didn't come with the dust jacket. That's what Rose and I were talking about earlier. It's not. They're not $10. They're like, Rose, how much were they? Are you still here? Or did I put you to sleep? I put Rose to sleep with my voice, which is a good thing. They were like under $2, but then you had to pay the $3.99 shipping. That's on Amazon. I don't know about on eBay. The owl book had almost, I think it had 550 pages, 575. Yes, you're still here. I didn't put you to sleep. Not yet. So this is I'm going to make myself a junk journal out of these. And I have a soft spot for, I'm a little bit over it. Okay, I'm like, you guys, I'm like crazy. I like weird things. You guys saw you saw my tangent. So for those of you who want to work in your glue book, get out your, hang on, let me see. Ashes, vintage. Okay, let me see if I can copy and paste this really quick before it goes away. The owl is on the cover of the hardback part, but the book jacket has a different cover. The book jacket got a different image. So that's where Rose and I couldn't, it was $1.47, right? Not even a yawn. Oh. Anyway, the book jacket has a different image on it than the actual book cover. And so, anyway, that's what's going on with the owl book. So, for those of you that want to work in your glue book, get it out. Make sure you order hardback. Yes, make sure you order the hardback. It comes in I didn't even know it came in a paperback. But the owl is pretty awesome. So this is, Regina, this is the junk mail book we made we made it over like 3 sessions. So one session we painted our junk mail. No, one session we painted the book cover. And the story of the book cover is, it was like one of those really inexpensive, cheap, like tiny, less than 200 page book. I think it was, I don't know what it was, but it was like one of these, like Who Moved My Cheese, 1 Minute Money Manager type of thing. What I do when I take my books apart that are this small, now this is one we just painted, I didn't take it apart, but when you cut it apart, you want to take the fly leaf. I remember that this week. Is Michelle here? You want to cut it apart. You want to take the fly leaf, which is the page next to the book cover, and then the second page, and you want to cut from here, okay? And then you want to do the same thing on the back page. So you take the fly leaf and this page, and then you take an X-Acto when you cut. There's a piece of cardboard in the center there. I take it out very gingerly, okay? And then I go back, and as you can see in this book, I used, Gorilla Tape. And I put it down because it'll make the spine fatter. Do you see how much wider the spine is on this now than it was? Now you could use, and if you were going to make this perfect, you could cover your Gorilla Tape with fabric, or you could cover it with whatever. I don't care because this book is for me. Then I made pockets for it. Upholstery samples somebody gave me. Poked a hole, sewed a button with some elastic, glued in my pockets. That I did in a paint your cover series. Then we painted our junk mail, and this is like 25 pages of junk mail that we just painted. We jelly printed, we stenciled, I sprayed, and now I'm starting to do some glue book, and I made pockets for it, and I have a tutorial on my channel for that. Okay, cool. Well, you're seeing this book, but let me tell you the story of this book. Okay, when you look at that other video in this book, I had just painted it like this without this red bit. Okay. Our new little puppy, I have a box of projects that I'm working on, and our new little puppy, she thinks that she's a monkey, and she jumped up on my table and she knocked some water into in the box of books, and I didn't see the water was knocked into the box of books, and this book was the one that got the water. The side of the book started to lift. So I took the book and I sanded, so you can see I sanded where the water damaged part was, and I repainted it. And when I sanded, the book cloth was red, so it started coming up. So I mixed new paint and I added red, and I didn't even try to I did a different type of faux finishing, like the kind that you do if you were going to make it look like wood. I did sort of a wood grain. And so this part is what you see is left from the original faux. This is the second bit of the faux finishing. Now this book isn't sewn in the spine, Regina. This one's got a twine binding. So what it means is I sewed all the signatures together. Like there's 2 signatures in this book. So those are sewed the same way I sewed that little one that we just did. But then afterwards I tied them in. So that way when they get full, I can take them out and I can still reuse the cover. Yeah, she helped give it character. You know, I'm not. You know what's great about it is the book was free, so it didn't matter that I might have been super upset if I'd spent a lot of money on the book. But then what could I have done? Why would I be upset? What could I do with it? So now you can see, Regina. So what I did was I just took some of this super cheap, very cheap. This is like 50 cents a bottle at big box store paint, and every one of these has that same 50-cent paint on it. Okay, there's not one in here that's more expensive. And I stenciled, I sprayed, I made my own spray paints with alcohol, and I sprayed, and I did all kinds of stuff. Okay, and then I went back and I took those security envelopes and I made pockets, and I'm starting to work in it. So what I started doing, like this particular page, the paper was like really thin, and when I painted on it, started warping. So what I did was I cut up, because what I do is I paint. Let me see if I can find it. Will you hand me this? Let me see if I can get someone to hand me. I'm sitting. One day I'll show you guys, and then you'll have a good laugh. Will you hand me those papers that are down there, right there? Thank you. So what I do is I take one of my favorite magazines that I get for free at the recycling center is a Wine Spectator magazine. I love it, and I usually have it laying at the bottom of my, with my books on top of it, and I roll off on it, and I use it as a drop cloth. I like it because the pages are really big, but they're also not really slick and shiny, and so they hold paint really well. So I painted on it. I think this was jelly printed. This was like a roll off with some jelly prints. So if I have leftover paint, I do it. So what I did was I just started tearing it and started collaging with bits of it and a magazine page. Now, I don't know how this is going to turn out because I don't exactly have anything in mind for it, but I already started. So this was some book pages I was using, and they were super. Does anybody else collect those Reader's Digest books? Did any of you do that? Yes, I will always remember the story of the puppy when I look at the book. You're absolutely right, Ash. She's so sweet. She's such a sweet puppy. Those Reader's Digest, those old Reader's Digest condensed novels, they have beautiful covers, but the pages inside are like, at least the ones I have, maybe the ones you guys get are newer. The ones I have are old, and the pages just fall apart. So I started gluing those in the background. This is like a part of that phone book. So I started gluing down background pages or bits and pieces that I had. So, and these, Regina, are made from junk mail too, the tabs. They're all made from a credit card offer when they were offering you like what kind of credit card you want. So here I started tearing off bits of pages that I've rolled off and bits and pieces to create some backgrounds for my junk mail, because I think I'm going to collage on top. Also, if I haven't painted on it, it has a really shiny surface. These book pages make it really super easy if I want to write on them. So I started just making bits and pieces, tearing pieces, and gluing them down. My only tip when you do this is use a glue stick. I happen to be using a super cheap one. I don't even think it's a permanent one. It was like a school glue stick. But just make sure after you've done it that you take some sort of towel and you know, rub them down, because if you don't get them good and glued down, they'll have like a bubble. You know, so that is my big, huge tip of collaging. No rhyme or reason. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been collecting my bits. I've been cutting up magazine bits, and I actually really like the way this is with all these different fonts and different book pages. I don't know if you can really see it that well, but it let me see if I can hold it up and you can see it a little better. It has a lot of different fonts and different you know, paper qualities and colors, and most of the paper coloring is just from age. So that's what this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna see what you guys are saying. The new puppy junk journal, that's what I can totally call it. Those Reader's Digest books are cheap at your library sale. You know, the covers are beautiful. Those are great. I have a ton of them. Um, for whatever reason, our little used bookstore doesn't try to resell them, so she saves me those when she gets them in. Okay, let's see. Usually cheap. I want to, but I haven't. I love them, but I don't leave the house anymore. Oh, the Reader's Digest. No, don't buy them on for $4. I think that if you found a friend that would go to a yard sale, you could probably get them for a quarter. Or I don't know, maybe $1. I don't know. I haven't. You still feel? What are you saying, Crafty Girl? I missed it. You said, Deb. You have to repeat. You have to repeat. Wait. I missed the whole train of what you guys have said. So you have to repeat it. You just ordered the Al book. Oh, no, I'm probably gonna have to order another one too. I'm like, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I need to stop myself. Okay, we bought books to tear apart. Yes, I have, Ash. I have bought books. In fact, I'll show you one that my partner, I don't have it in front of me. I'll show it to you guys next time. I'll try to remember. He brought me a children's book, and it was probably from, I don't know. It's really beautiful, and I can't tear it apart. It's got beautiful illustrations in it. I mean, it's just, I mean, maybe I will have to do it at some point. So I'm going to get my papers out. Now, I save all kinds of ridiculous papers. You guys do not have to save your papers like I do. I save them. I have them all in this little accordion file, or some of the ones that I've been working with in this accordion file. You don't have to save your papers like I do. I save all the bits, and it's ridiculous, and I don't. At some point, I probably need to just let go and throw them away, but I haven't. And I have all sorts of bits and pieces of papers that I've painted and papers that I haven't painted, and I didn't bring my folder of focal images, but because right now I just thought I would do some background images, and I'll just show you guys what I do, and then not that it matters because you should do what works best for you. But like, okay, this is the other side of that one this is the other side of this piece of journaling. This is the side that I've already put the papers on, and this is the piece that doesn't have any, okay? So you can see how I covered it. I covered both sides to make it more usable for me. And then this is the other side of the other piece of the other end of it. What are you guys writing, Lucy? Aww. Crafty girl, we're happy you're here with us. You have two children's books that Ash is saying she has two children's books that she can't tear apart. The illustrations are too gorgeous. I know, right? And you can't even read it because, oh, I have some foreign language books that I love that. Scan it and cut it up. I totally agree, Rose. I totally agree. Or you guys are arguing over who's older? Oh, please. You're only as old as you feel. Let's don't even get started to talk about age. So I'll just show you guys my process, and then you can, for what it's worth. I mean, not that anything that I'm doing is like, you know, you guys probably do it way better than I do anyway. So I save all these book pages that have like different kind of fonts or different writing sizes and different page you know, different colored paper. And here, this is a piece of yellow pages, and then these are from that book, Who Moved My Cheese, the black one that I tore apart. So these are, I told you, remember I told you they're paint roll-offs inside of it? So this is like a piece of that I tore out when I was making the pocket. And I save all these pieces. Some of the page quality is better than others, and I even save the white pieces because not every single thing, okay guys, I haven't saved every piece of paper, but I saved some of it so that I can, you can use the white pages to stamp on and put them in my junk journals, okay? So I just tear out bits and pieces of different fonts. Try to tear the white parts off. You don't have to, it's up to you. You know, the borders of it off. But you can see, like, I save all these different bits. And look, these are those old Reader's Digest. Oh no, this isn't. Oh, this is cool. This is, I think this might be an old Grey's Anatomy book. Isn't it beautiful? I used the cover for something, but isn't it? I mean, I like it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I like it. Now they have pictures of brains and stuff. And backs, and the illustrations in it are good. You realize that when most of these books were made like this, these all are lithograph plates. So I mean, these were not made the way we make books now. So these are all anyway. If you know anything about lithography, it's like crazy, you know. And like the colored bits, it's not made the same way. So they're actually, think about it, you buy lithographs when you buy art. So I have all kinds of book pages in my little bit. Now I try not to have too much in one place, or too much of, because if I have too many options, I will, I sort of get overwhelmed. Does that happen to anybody else if you have too many options? You want to go dig through my papers? Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. It's my ridiculous tangent. I am so sorry. You know what? I can totally relate because I have my own issues with paper. I love paper, right? I love paper. Now I'm using super cheap glue stick. You might want to use a permanent one. It doesn't really matter. It's, you know, I don't think I'm going to paint over it. I think if I do anything, I'll stamp on it. So, you know, and I just start gluing it down. Now I do try to put a straight edge next to a straight edge, and if it's too raggy, I go back and I cut it off later on. So I'm just gonna start gluing bits down, and you know, with the idea that it's in place of painting over the top of the book, you know, painting over the book page, and then, you know, I'll do it in layers. I'll do like one layer this way, and then I'll come back later on and I'll put different images. This is sort of the background image. So right now, this is just what I have in front of me, are these book pages with these like tiny fonts. You could also, let me see if I can find a magazine, and I'll show you the bits and pieces that I cut up from magazines that I use for, background images. Now you do want to make sure that you've taken your, you know, this is just a dried out baby wipe, but you know, you could use any sort of a soft cloth and you just want to rub out, make sure you have no bubbles in it, because it will, if you haven't glued it down well, you'll know fairly certain soon if it has bubbles based on, it'll come up, right? So this is just what I do. This is my ridiculousness. This is how I work. But you can do it any way that, there is no right or wrong. Do what works for you. You know, do what works for you. There is no right or wrong. So this is like how I make background pages. Like that's how I start. I just start, and sometimes I'll just go through and I'll put down text on a bunch of different pages. And then I'll come back and I'll do another layer. And I'll come back and I'll do another layer. And I'll just do it until I'm done. Now, all these pages, all these book pages were stuff that I tore out of old encyclopedias. They were things that I tore out of, like, I don't know. They're all different things, right? Encyclopedias, they'll be like book pages that once I've cut the book block, you know, out. And some of them I jelly print on, and some of them I just glue right down into a journal, like into a glue book like this, right? And some of them I leave space, and I don't know, for no rhyme or reason. There's no, it doesn't matter. It's just fun, and it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. And I just keep going until I filled up my page. And you know, that this really helps when you have all those really old books that you have where the pages are falling apart. This is a really good way to use them. What are you guys writing? Let me see. You guys are like, yeah. So, for me, I just try to like focus on one step at a time. So like right now is backgrounds. So if I don't like what I've gotten down later on, I can add something over it. I'm not trying to make a complete work of art in one sitting. I mean, you can when you make those little ATCs or make, you know, the index card a day, the iCads. That, you know, that's a time to really sit down and make yourself a, you know, make yourself a piece of art in one day. But if it's not that, if you're not like focusing on that, if you're just focusing on like, then pick one aspect of it. Pick backgrounds. Pick, you know, and then, you know, go through and do a bunch of backgrounds, or maybe do 2 or 3 backgrounds, and then go to the next step, you know, and then, you know, maybe you pick some other focal point, or you know, I leave my focal points to the very end because I don't exactly know what it's going to come out like, and I don't even know what I want it to be. Most of the time, it just sort of evolves all on its own, and I don't even really put any thought into that. Let me see, what did you say? Let's see. Who's the young old lady? I'm a young old lady. I'm an old lady, and I don't care. I mean, I've got grown children. I don't have any grandkids yet. I mean, that's next. But you know what? When I had my daughter, and I have a 10-year-old, and I had her in my 40s, my eldest daughter told me I had my own grandchild. Is that terrible? They all told me that I had my own grandchild. I thought that was like, I was like, okay. I had my own grandchild, so there you go. So, you know, I think the less choices you have, the better, at least for me. And if you're new to doing any sort of collage work or stuff like that, and you don't really exactly know where to begin, I think it can be overwhelming when you think that you have to do a whole spread in one sitting. Like when you think, oh well, I have to come up with this. No, you know, just a little at a time. Do a little at a time until it makes you happy. Until you're like, okay, well that part's done. Or if you don't like it, so what? Just keep going. There's always, I find in any art that I make, there's always what I call the ugly stage. Now, like, I love this book page. This is from the front. This is the fly leaf of, or maybe the second page. This would have been the second page next to the fly leaf, and I love it. It's got a beautiful color. I'm missing all of your convo, and I can't keep up. Okay, let's see. Working with kids is fun. I agree. What's my agenda for next week? You know, I have a couple of projects that I've been working on. One of them was, I don't know, do you guys want to make embellishments? Hi, Shannon Green. Shannon Green is our guru. You are our guru, Shannon Green. We love you. If you guys don't know who Shannon Green is, go and check out her channel. She is the master of junk mail, junk journals. I love watching her. She's always inspirational. And I think a little bird told me she's going to be giving some classes at Canvas Corp in Arkansas. And I hope that she gives longer than a one day, because I live too far away just to go for one day. So you guys, if you just start somewhere, Regina, don't think about it. Just start. Just do it. You're blushing now? Oh, you can't be blushing. You're a girl from Texas like me. No blushing. Regina, just start. And don't get overwhelmed with it. Just start. But give yourself, you know, a little bit of a, like, say, okay, I'm gonna get 10 pieces of junk mail, and I'm gonna paint my 10 pieces of junk mail, and then I'm going to sew my 10 pieces of junk mail into something. Okay? Like, don't make it bigger than it is, and allow yourself the space, you know, to make mistakes. It's not perfect. It's junk mail, and that's the beauty of it all. I mean, you know you're going to get some more next week. Oh, you have to follow Shannon Green. If you are interested in making junk journals or interested in crafting, you have to follow her. She's awesome. Somebody gave me a whole bag of phone books, and the first thing I did was go to Shannon's channel and see if she'd done a phone book. And sure enough, she had done a phone book. So I'm going to make a journal out of some phone books. I haven't started yet. You're right, Rose. You cannot wreck anything with a junk journal. And that is so good to think about and to talk about and to know. Because I think so many times we find ourselves paralyzed, or I can just speak for myself. So if I thought that I had to paint like a Picasso painting, I would find myself paralyzed, right? Thinking about how it had to be or what it had to be. Whereas with a piece of junk mail, I don't even think about it. I just do it. And then if it doesn't come out, so what? It doesn't have to look anyway. You're absolutely right, Rose. Okay, I can't follow it. I'm having a difficult time following the chat and talking and gluing, so. You know, Regina, you can make it look any way you want. And if you start looking at people's junk journals and channels where people have done their junk journals, you're going to see some amazing, masterful pieces of artwork made from trash. And it's amazing. Or you'll see some people, like, you know, take it the other direction, and they make like amazing things out of out of scrapbooking paper, which is great. But as I told you, I live on an island, so it just doesn't make any sense for me to spend a lot of money on something that would end up in a landfill anyway. Does that make sense? Yes, enjoy the process. I totally agree. Just jump in and play and make it your own. I agree. Well, I made myself a list. Do you guys have a list of things like that are like a crafty wish list? Like I have a crafty wish list. Like things that I want to make, like things that I have like so this is what I'm gonna. You know what? I want to. Rose inspired me to make one, and I started making one. And I don't know if you guys want to join in. And but it's been fun for me. Has anybody made a flag book? Has anybody made a flag book yet? So I am making a flag book, and I'm also making. Remember, I told you guys I don't know many. I don't know how long ago, but many. Now remember, this is just going to be a background, you guys. I don't know what I'm going to put on top of it. And it could be completely covered up by the time I finish and paint it or whatever. So I was obsessed with making ultra playing cards. So I am making these. I'm making a flag book. And I am going to fill it with my altered playing cards. So so if you go to Rose's channel, her name is Creatapy. She Yes, Rosemary Morse does amazing journals too. But let's face it, Shannon Green, you do amazing journals. You're always inspiring. I love Rosemary. She's one of my favorite people too. She makes amazing trashy junk journals. So she has a group on Facebook called Trashy Junk Journals. Shannon Green has one on Facebook called By Shannon Green, and I'll put their links in the description box below, along with Rose's link to her channel for her flag book, and Phaedra's for her making her Mother's Day journal, if you guys want to do that. So Rose made this flag book, and a flag book is like, they're like three, you make it in three sections and they fold over each other, and it's super cool. Anyway, so it's a great place and way to store your ATCs if you make those. But I made all these ultra playing cards. And so I was sort of like looking for something to, I was a little bit obsessed at the moment of making ultra playing cards. So if you guys want to make a flag book, we could do that, and we can make it, and we can make some ultra playing cards to go in it if you girls are up for that. I don't know how you feel about it, but that might be a fun thing to do. Yes, it's the real Shannon Green. Shannon, tell us about when you... Okay, we'll do it. So we'll make a flag book. So you know what I'll do is we'll start it next week, and I'll make a preview video in a couple days to tell you all the supplies you need. And then you go on Rose's channel and you can see where she's made one, which is excellent. Which is how I met Rose. I went on her channel and I saw this thing and I said, oh my god, I love this. It's brilliant. And then we started talking, and now we're friends. So there you go. So Shannon, tell us all about we all want to come to Arkansas and make crafting. We want to make bits with you. We want to come. I do, at least. I don't get to come to the mainland that often, but I will make a trip. But it has to be longer than a day. It's too far for me to go for a day. If you go on to Rose's channel, Creatapy, and she has a flag book on there, and I'll put it after our live stream. I'll put the link when it comes back up. I'll put it in the description box, and you guys can see it. It's so cool. I mean, I'm sure flag books have been around for a long time. They're probably called something else, right, Rose? I'm looking. I think if you guys, there's so many beautiful, lovely, amazing, creative ladies that make cool art on YouTube. I am always in awe. I am always, always, always in awe. Lori, who's on here, Lori, just a girl from the Bay, she makes amazing journals. She makes amazing junk journals. And there's like, I haven't seen all of your channels, but I know that all of you are so talented in your own ways, and we can all learn from each other, and I really appreciate that. Shannon's writing this. Okay, girls, here we go. Shannon's going to be starting a class at the end of the month, short ones to start with, but would love to do a weekend mini retreat sometime. Yay, I would love that. You and Rosemary are going to do a class together on trashy junk journals? Awesome! I think that's awesome. Yeah, she doesn't live far from you. I think it's going to be awesome. So Shannon moved from Texas to Arkansas. And so if anybody lives near Northwest Arkansas, yes. So if anybody lives near you in Northwest Arkansas, it would be the opportunity to go and take a class with Shannon. And now she's saying Rosemary's going to do it with her. So I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Yes, if you make it in time when I can come, if it's longer than a day, I'll come. If I can. Yes, I agree with you, Ash. Without the internet, we probably all would not even be in the same... We all wouldn't be in the same space right now. So I think it's super awesome. So I'll put a list in the description. I'll make a video this week of what you need for a flag book. And then, the one thing that you can do ahead of time, or you can start doing, it's not like an end result, it's like a process, is get your ATCs, or, your ATCs, or your playing cards, altered playing cards, or whatever you want to put in your flag book. You put tags in yours, right, Rose? Northwest Arkansas. My partner used to live near in Bentonville. So I don't know how far you are from Bentonville. Lori is amazing. Lori, just a girl from the Bay, is amazing. Okay, Ash is saying, Shannon, is Holiday Island near where you live? I have no idea where Holiday Island is. Oh, you can also use business cards. So Rose used tags. I'm going to use my altered playing cards. Or you could use business cards, because you need those parts for your flag book. Go and watch her video. Her channel is called Creatapy, and you will see her. You'll see her. You'll see what the flag book is. It's so awesome. It's so cool. I've been so super stoked to make one that I haven't started yet, but that's on my crafty wish list. You know how everybody has their bucket lists? Though that's on my crafty bucket list. My crafty bucket list is definitely a flag book. I don't know. I have a bunch of stuff. I have like a list of stuff. You know how people have lists of places they want to go? I have lists of things I want to make. Is that ridiculous? Is that ridiculous or what? Lists of stuff that I want to make. So the flag book is one of them. Holiday. Oh, so are you loving Arkansas, Shannon, or are you missing Texas? You had to Google it? I don't know where any of those places are. So I'm just gluing some painted papers down. If you guys can glue anything, and I'll show you some. Let me find one of those. I had a big thing of stuff to bring with me over here earlier, but I get so sidetracked, you guys. I have so many things going on right now in my own life. Hoping to be taking a trip soon, so I'm excited about that. So, a lot of stuff going on. What are you guys saying? You really like Arkansas, but you sure do miss Houston? I lived there. I was born and raised there. I love Houston too, Shannon. I love it too. Although I do love living in Hawaii. I'm not going to tell you a story. It is nice, but it's not the same. You know, I was just saying earlier, we were talking about, there's a couple girls on here from Texas today in the chat. And I was just saying how much I really love people from Texas. They're just so always genuine, always nice. You always know where you stand with them. There's no, you know, always kind and always got a space for, you know, just, I don't know. I didn't even realize that where I grew up was a really small town, you guys, until I left. Alright? Is that ridiculous or what? And I moved from the tiny town that I lived in Texas to New York City. That's where I went. Is that crazy? I moved from my tiny hometown of the tiny town, the tiny little suburb I lived of, you know. And Eureka Springs is great, yes. You're laughing? Who's laughing at who? You give up? What are you giving up? I'm missing you guys. Yes, you and Rosemary together would be a power team, Shannon. That would be awesome. I hope I can come. I hope I'm around then. I can travel at that time. Yep. You guys are so funny. You scribed. Watch Rose's book. I'm telling you, it's a little bit. It looks a little daunting, but I have a feeling that we can do it. I have a feeling we can make that. Don't you think so, Rose? It's not as daunting as it appears. I hope it's not as daunting as it appears. Maybe it is as daunting. Maybe it's more daunting than it appears. You guys are so funny. You know, I'll put in my link. I have a Twitter account. If you guys make any of these projects, please tag me. You know, you can put your videos on Twitter and stuff like that. I would love to see what you guys make. I would love to see it. It would make me happy. It would make me very happy. To see what you guys all make. I love seeing it. You like the scrub better than the scribe? Me too. You guys are so funny. You guys are hilarious, actually. You know who we're missing? We're missing Bridgeline. Miss Bridgeline, who lives in... Does she live in England or does she live in Scotland? Does anybody remember? She's always so fun. And she's the reason I'm doing this as early as I am, because usually I'm much later for me, but she was like, I want to be here. So, I don't have much on my table. These are all the books that I roller printed or jelly printed on from that. Remember that book, the Who Moved My Cheese? That book that we're all making too? That was the other thing that we're making, Regina. You should get yourself one. We all are going to make ourselves a tiny book like this with the little accordion pockets. And I've made them with multiple accordion pockets. This one only has 2. But it's a super simple, easy thing to make. And this is like one of those Who Moved My Cheese books. Which they're like 90 pages. And inside it, I use mine as a paint roll-off book. So you're going to like see and stencil roll-off and extra paint. So the paint doesn't all go together, but you can use yours for whatever. You don't have to have so crazy eclectic paint that I have in mine. It's 10:15 in Milwaukee. Well, it's only 5:15 in the evening here in Hawaii. just any small book. You know, Who Moved My Cheese is such a good book. Yes, and they're free at almost every library sale. If you go, if you go to a library sale, they'll have a box of them. 1 Minute Money Manager, Who Moved My Cheese. Oh, I can't even remember all of the ones that are like this small. It's the size. The only thing I don't like about Who Moved My Cheese, I mean, not the story, is the paper quality of the book isn't as good as some. So you might want to pick up a more like, but free is the optimal word. What quote in the book? I'm sorry. What did I have it open? You're on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, and now you're on Twitter and you're on Facebook. You guys are so funny. I get it. So anyway, this is one that we've been making too, and this is just gonna be like, this is gonna be a collage journal too, or a glue book, like Shannon's Unmasked journal. But this one just has painted roll-off pages in it. You like to get the linen covers, not the paper covers? Look, I like free. So I take the free books. And I like the size thing. The size thing is the reason I even have that book. And I have a bunch of different books that size. If I find one that has better pages, I'll let you know. But that's what I have. So, if you guys haven't done Shannon's Journaling by Fives, do that. That is so fun. Have you guys done Shannon Green's Journaling by Fives? Regina, if you've never tried that, oh my gosh, you have to try Journaling by Fives. It is so fun. A little nerve-wracking, but fun. Because you have to try and finish your bits in a short amount of time. I'm just going to find another place to put this because I'm kind of done with that. I'm kind of done with my, for the moment, because I don't have a lot of paper choices here. I sat down without a lot of paper choices. What are you guys saying? You never heard of that? I thought that sounded fun too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so go to Shannon's channel and try and type in the in the questioning bit, Journaling by Fives. Oh my gosh, that is so fun. You know what? It's sort of, for me, you can see a lot of people journal and do all this stuff, and they're all fancy and schmancy and stuff like that. Journaling by Fives will demystify art journaling for you if you have any sort of creative hang up. Just doing the exercise of doing it is just so fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Night, Shannon. We hope. Let us know about your. I'm gonna be looking for yours and Rosemary's Trashy Junk Journal workshop. Hopefully I'll be able to come. So you guys have to go over to her channel and look up Journaling by Fives. You will love it. It is so fun. It really demystifies art journaling. It gives you, you can do, it just gives you permission to make your stuff and not get all caught up in, the woulda, shoulda, couldas of it, or the perfectionist, or the bits of perfection that we all, think and know and that sort of thing. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it doesn't matter if you're a novice or you're an experienced artist or whatever. It is just fun no matter what, and it's just fun. So go for it and see if you like it too. You might really like it. That might be something that really suits you. Journaling by Fives is it's a thing that Shannon came up with. It's where you do there's 5 or 6 different steps to it, and you do 20 pages of a journal in 15 minutes. So and you do it in 5 so that's what's called Journaling by Fives. So you do there's 5 steps to it. So the first step is background. So You'll set a timer and you'll get your pages out. And she did hers in a cheap composition book. You know, one of those 50-cent composition books that you get at Walmart. She did it in that. So you can do it in anything. Like, it would be great. You could do the same thing if you did it in a junk mail journal. So you could put together your or a junk mail pamphlet. You could put together your junk mail and you could go for it. You know, you could decide, like, I'm gonna, paint my backgrounds this way. Go to Shannon Green and look up Journaling by Fives. So it's just really fun, and you really don't need any art skill. Like, you don't have to be like some fine artist to do it, and it's really fun. I thought it was really fun, at least. And I've been kind of thinking about doing it again, but doing it in one of these junk mail journals. So that's something we could do together, you guys. We could all do a Journaling by Fives live stream. Set the timer and paint our junk mail and do it in our junk mail journals. That would be super fun. You guys up for that? Because all you need is 20 pages of junk mail. And we could totally do that. We could do a flag book, and we could do Journaling by Fives live stream, a junk mail journal. That, I think, would be super fun. You know, you get your 20 pieces of junk mail and you go for it. Yes, a junk mail journal and Journaling by Fives would be. I mean, I've been wanting to do it in a junk mail journal, so we could totally do that too. I love it's a fun thing. You know, for me, what it did is, you know how, like, sometimes you're looking at an art, if any of you art journal, you're looking at an art journal page and you get frozen. Like, you're frozen with, like, what am I going to put on it? Or you get stuck. So, you know, that's a way, like, not to be stuck. I'm game if you guys are game. Well, ladies, I think I am kind of going to call it quits for the day. I want to give you girls a big hug from me. And, you know, make sure that you go and you check out Rose's channel. Her name is Creatapy, and look at the flag book. And also, if you guys want to do Journaling by Fives with junk mail, we'll do that too. And, you know, some other stuff. And I don't know, if Friday's good for you girls, maybe I'll do Fridays again next week. I don't know what day I did last week. My days, when you live in the tropics, it's sunny here, so every day is almost the same. You know, sunny and or cloudy or whatever, but similar, so it's not like so the passage of time kind of goes crazy. Well, I'm happy you could join us, Crafty Girl Purple 62. I'm happy you could join us. So, girls, we have our little junk mail that we made in our, we've got my big mess here, right? We have our junk mail journal that we put in our book jacket. It's super easy. Anybody can make one. Just get yourself a book jacket and go for it. And maybe that's what we could do is we'll make a junk mail journal. Make your junk mail journal with at least 20 pages. You could make it with more. And we'll do a Journaling by Fives session next time too. I would love if you girls ever find yourself in Hawaii. Good night, Regina. Please let me know. Alright, good night, Lisa. So that's what we'll plan doing. We'll do the Journaling by Fives junk mail journal session next week, and we can start our flag books. I think the flag book might take a little longer than one session. But I will, you know what I'll do this week? In the next couple of days, I'll make a video on what you need for your junk mail, what you need for your flag book. And I'll make a little promo for our Journaling by Fives of Junk Mail. Deli Girl lives in Winnipeg. That's awesome. Well, if you girls ever find your way to Hawaii, you give me a shout. Alright, girls. Well, I'm sending you big, huge hugs from me. And, until next week. And as always, 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 from my heart to your heart, I'm sending you so, so, so much aloha. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. And I will definitely put all those links in my description box for all the things that we talked about. And if I forget something, one of you girls let me know. Good night, Ash. Bye, Crafty Girl. Bye, Deb RN. Bye, Sherry. Bye, Lisa. Bye, Dee, if you're still here. And Rose. Big hugs to you. And you girls, thanks so much for keeping me company and, making a couple of little trashy junk journals with me, some junk mail, junk journals. Alright, ladies. Big, 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 huge hugs. Night, ladies. I am the worst. I don't even know how to turn it off. That's how bad it is for me.